Frost and welcome to the Accountability Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure to like and turn on your notifications and share this episode of the Accountability Show. This is episode number 35, and we are talking about the 5 pillars of mastering tax strategy. In each one of these episodes of the Accountability Show, we are discussing the what, the why, the how, and an actual live example of each one of these different foundations of accounting in your business. And one of these foundations that we're talking about right now is the 5 pillars of mastering tax strategy. So to remind you, the 5 pillars are entity formation, research and development tax credits, which would be specialty industry tax credits and deductions, the tax method of accounting, tax planning, and captive insurance companies. So these 5 pillars of mastering tax strategy is what we use on every single one of our clients when we're executing tax planning, when we are helping them figure out the best tax strategy every single year for their business. And all these different pillars, some of them might be used, some of them might not be, but each one of them, as I was going through and thinking about a systematic way in which we help our clients, each one of them does have some effect on your overall tax strategy each year, especially if you are an owner of a business, an owner of a small business. And so on today's episode, we're talking about the how. How do you apply these 5 pillars to your tax situation? So let's start with the first one, entity formation. How do you apply this? I talked with a client today. We actually had a client that has a single member LLC, and we were talking about how that could be converted into an S corporation. That would be your entity structure, your entity formation. That one move alone is going to save that client $10,000 this year on their taxes. Just by executing that one strategy, that one pillar, we are able to save them $10,000. So the different entity that you choose is how it is going to affect your overall tax strategy every single year. So the second pillar of mastering tax strategy is tax planning. If you haven't watched any of those episodes, please go back into the episodes. I think it was around maybe 25, I believe. 28 is where you can learn about tax planning. We talk about the why, the what, the how of tax planning. And you can also go to www.starttaxplanning.com to watch a free webinar and get our template, download the template for tax planning. The third pillar of mastering tax strategy is your tax method of accounting. Now, how do you apply this? This really depends on the industry that you're in. If you're in construction, you're going to have a different method of accounting for tax purposes than if you were in real estate. If you were in the service industry, or if you were in marketing industry, you're going to have a different tax method of accounting. That method of accounting is determined on your tax return, and that's what we analyze when we're working with our clients every year. Are they on the correct tax method of accounting? Now, this is not something that changes from year to year like tax planning would, or maybe your entity formation. Pretty much when you've made this election of your tax method of accounting, you stick with that for a long period of time. And when I say long period of time, I mean probably 4 to 8 years at least. So that is the third pillar of mastering tax strategy. That's how you would change it, is on your tax return. It's actually an election that you make on your tax return to determine whether or not you're on the cash basis, on the accrual basis, or the completed contract method or percentage of completion method. Either one of those. So that's the third pillar of mastering tax strategy, is your tax method of accounting. The fourth one is specialty industry tax credits and deductions. So how do you know how to apply those to your tax situation? It takes a conversation. You need to be talking with a professional in order to determine whether or not research and development tax credits, or a cost segregation study, or you might have health insurance credits that would apply to your specific business. This has to deal with, just like the tax method of accounting, it has to deal with your industry that you're in, and how big your business is, whether it's a small company or a large company. There's different credits that are available to you depending on the size company that you are, specifically health insurance benefits. And a lot of those specialty industry tax credits and deductions can be applied through this year, the CARES Act. There's a lot of specialty credits and deductions that are in the CARES Act that came about because of the coronavirus and COVID-19 and these stimulus bills, that is going to be applied to your specific tax situation this year. They are already changing the forms in which you're doing your 1040 and your 1065s and 1120Ss that will allow you to take advantage of these specialty industry tax credits and deductions. So it's very important for you to understand how you can elect those on your tax return. And then the fifth one is captive insurance company. We typically partner with another firm that is specifically trained in captive insurance companies. That's how we apply that to your specific situation. So if you make in excess of $250,000 a year and you're looking for an extra tax deduction that you haven't had before, it will convert your income tax rate from 37% to 14 to 17%, which is a big savings. But you have to make in excess of $250,000 a year, and that will be applied to your specific situation. Please contact us. Please call us. Comment below if you're interested in a captive insurance company, because that is how we can help you get that applied to your specific tax situation. So as far as the how of 5 pillars of mastering tax strategy, that is how we apply them. That's how we make the decision, is through analyzing your industry and your business and the size of the business and whether or not you have employees or whether or not you have independent contractors and how you recognize revenue. That is how we apply those 5 pillars to your specific situation. So a lot can happen through a conversation, and the best way to have a conversation is to log on to our website, www.starttaxplanning.com, and that's where we can start the conversation and apply one of those pillars, which is tax planning. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Accountability Show. The next episode, we're going to be giving you an example of the 5 pillars and how we are applying that to a specific client. Make sure you turn on your notifications so that we can that you'll notified whenever we drop a new episode, and also listen to the podcast on Spotify or iTunes, the Daily Ledger Podcast. Thank you so much.